Awesome. And we are live. JT here. Welcome to The Huddle. The Huddle is where I sit down with successful people from the world of sport and coaching. It's to learn more about their journey to greatness. Why do I have these conversations? Because success always leaves clues. I want to take a moment to thank you, whether you are watching on YouTube or on Facebook, or whether you're listening to the audio on the podcast. Thank you so much for being here with me and my special guest today. And here's my friendly reminder to you. The mind is like a parachute. It works best when it's wide open. So my challenge to you is to go all in on this conversation, to remove any distractions and get laser focused on the here and the now. And I guarantee you, you will gain a valuable nugget of wisdom that will not only help you succeed in sport, but more importantly, in the game of life. Been looking forward to my conversation with my two special guests today. Rarely do you have an opportunity to have a conversation with two people who just get it, who truly embody what it means to truly help and serve the hearts of others. My two guests today, my first guest is currently serving as the special teams coordinator with the Toronto Argonauts. My second guest is currently serving as the defensive coordinator with the University of Windsor. My guests in the huddle today are Coach Mickey Donovan and Coach Pat Donovan. How are you today, brothers?
Great, doing well. How about yourself?
Yeah, it's Monday, so it's flowing well. People are off to school, off to work, so just get some opportunity to have an enriching conversation with both of you. So life's okay.
Awesome stuff.
Awesome. Before we get kicked off, pun intended, I just want to take a moment to count my blessings. For me, this is a daily practice. Some days I do it better than others, but I do find the days where I'm most intentional, most consistent counting my blessings. I do find those days are filled with a little more love, a little more joy, a little bit more peace. So I'm a big believer, biggest blessing you can give anyone is your time and energy. So thank you for blessing me with your time and energy, especially during the in-demand time of the season. So thank you again.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Thank you for having us,
brother.
Okay. One of the things that I always like to remind others, most importantly myself, is that life is a game and games are supposed to be fun.
Yep.
So I'm curious, what's an interesting fact? I had a coaching colleague and a great friend that always used to remind me, hey, we all have these things that make us unique and different, and our responsibility is to share them with others. So I'm curious, what's an interesting fact that maybe a lot of people don't know about you that you'd be open to sharing with our community? Coach Pat, would love to know.
A little bit about me. So I've done movies in the past, TV shows and movies, and I've done stunts. So that's my little hobby that I do on the side when I have a little bit of free time. That's a little fun fact about me.
Okay, I love it.
Mickey's a model, so
yeah. I honestly, I don't know, to be honest with you, with myself, I don't know what really I love besides my family and sports. Any fun facts is right now when I have free time with my kids, I spend it with them and I enjoy every minute with them. Otherwise it's pretty much just family and football in my life.
I got one about Mickey. He's a Hulkamaniac.
Yeah.
There's actually a video, JT, that my brother, I got to get it out there. I will share it with you and you can share it with others.
Yeah.
So Mickey gives his belt every week away to the special teams, and his players actually gave it back to him. And they did and every week, I'll let Mickey tell you what they do, but it's pretty special. Go ahead, Mickey.
Well, that just ties in usually just to reward the guys, keep it a little fun, in our journey that we take every day in life, to come into work and to feel appreciated, but also to come in with a smile and make sure the guys are having a good time while we're working. And so we have that championship belt, as you heard my brother Pat talk about. And what we do is at the end of the week on our day 4, before the game, in our meeting, whoever has the belt has to come in and have an entrance theme as a wrestler or a boxer or some type of a champion. And when I was handed the belt and it was given back to me, my all-time dream and that I had when I was younger was to be a wrestler. And my brother and I used to do it all the time, wrestle, and have that imagination of the Ultimate Warrior Hulk Hogan. And the only thing is I would never go along with it unless I won. So I'd tell him,
He
hey,
always
if
had to
we're gonna
win.
do this, I'm winning. If I'm not winning, I'm not playing. So now I had that opportunity to be the Hulkster, and had a big entrance and just a fun opportunity to enjoy that moment with the guys I'm with every day while I'm up here working. And it was pretty special. But I guess that would be a fun fact about me, that I still have that little kid in me, and still wanting to live that dream.
He still plays with his toys.
Yeah, my wrestling man. Yeah,
His wrestling men.
yeah.
I love that. And it's interesting. I love that you both share that you have this love of wrestling. That is something that I developed a greater appreciation for during when we were all sort of stuck at home a few years ago. Kind of, hey, what's on 3-4 days a week? Oh,
Right.
wrestling. So it sort of rekindled. So I just see more of these commonalities that we all share.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm curious. Sport has obviously played an important role for both of you in your lives, right? You were first high quality athletes, right? And again, between both of you, there's multiple, President's trophies, top, defensive players in the country in youth sport. And then you both transitioned into coaching, and you've coached at different levels, right? Youth sport, professionally. I'm curious, sport has obviously played an important role in both of your lives. Has there been a particular life lesson? And again, I know there's many that you find yourself like you've taken from sport and you still find yourself applying to other areas of your life today.
For me, it's never look back and regret. Always give 100%. There's so many things in life that I wish I can go back and do it all over again. Unfortunately, I can't. So at least I can live through my players' eyes and make sure that they don't look back and regret. I think for me, that's probably the biggest. And that's actually why I got into coaching.
I love that.
Yeah, for me, I ever since at a young age, I just loved playing all sports, and and then not realizing it at that time by having my brother. We're always competing in life, and we didn't even know that we were competing. We were just out there playing and having fun, but one of us always wanted to win. And
I had to let him win.
Yeah, he did. He had to let me win at times, because I wouldn't let him go home until I got at least 1 or 2 games of a victory.
You couldn't beat me
on the basketball court. And then when I finally got those, and I was like, okay, now we can go home. And we'd be out there for hours. And he'd be, Mick, I'm hungry, man. Let me just go home. Come on. I'm like, no, not until I win. So there was probably times he let me win because of that. He just wanted to get home.
One of my Fruity Pebbles.
Yeah. But sports for me has been such a blessing through my life, and sharing it now with my family, with my wife and kids. And we always talk about taking it one play at a time, in sports, and moving on, moving on to the next play. And we share that in my household is, you make a mistake or you do something wrong, if it's in school or in life and in the house rules or whatever it may be, you got to learn from your mistake, but then you got to, you got to move on from it and be able to build yourself and build your character off of that. So through life in sports, it's something that I have grown to have a great understanding of. Nothing's perfect. Everyone would love to be, but nothing is. And you got to understand that, everyone that's waking up every morning wanting to be great or succeed. No one's wanting to fail. So you want to find those ways to, push yourself and others to be great or have greatness in their life.
I always say, how can you move to the future if you dwell on the past? The glass half full.
Yeah.
It's interesting, and I appreciate you both sharing, and hearing both of you share. There are a couple of things that I really heard was, again, this ability to appreciate the here and the now, right? To make the most of this next play, and that's something that you can definitely sense, and being able to watch you from afar, getting to talk with you right now, you can definitely get a sense of this appreciation of the here and the now. And this sense of family. I think that's what's unique about both your journeys is how you've gotten here is together, right? Whether it's pushing yourselves, playing basketball and just pushing each other to be great. And then, you've had the blessing of being able to coach together and support each other on the journey. So again, it's true essence of family, right? And in sport,
it's the most important thing,
right?
Family is the most important thing.
So I'm curious, this sense of appreciation, because that's one thing I really love about both of you, is like you can tell, like you genuinely love the process of becoming great, whether it's great men, whether it's helping others to become the best version of themselves on the football field. Was there a particular coach, teacher, mentor that helped you to understand the importance of like developing appreciation for the here and the now and making the most of, the next play?
Well, I'll be honest with you. The person that really sparked me in life is my brother. And that's I know I've said this to him numerous times. He's I'm getting emotional here. Sorry, guys. Sorry, he's no, I know. But he's always been there for me. I've always looked up to him. Special person. And I've always wanted what's best for him. It's anything I've done, like when I won the President's Trophy, actually, him and my family surprised me when I first won it. And, for me, it wasn't for me. It was to show him, because he had torn his ACL and I just came off a torn ACL. But I wanted to show him that he can come back and do it. And that would put the fire under me to make sure I was able to achieve that goal, to show him he can do it. But he's taught me so much in life, and I've always looked up to him. And he's my best friend. He's my brother. He means a lot to me. Sorry, buddy. Yeah.
Kind words. No, and it's all much loved and appreciated. I've always been the bigger brother, right? We're 10.5 months apart. And again, even though when we were younger, he always kicked my butt in certain individual sports. So, I always had to take that and accept that. But I never wanted to give up. Being challenged and challenging him. So through our life, we've had a lot of great support through our families, family members, through many different occasions, from our sisters, us being at a young age, losing our house when we were about 11 and 12 years old. Our sisters having to work so my brother and I could stay in sports and keep achieving what we're doing so they could help our mom pay the bills. And that for us was a life journey of a lesson of knowing that, the reason why we preach so much about family is because that's all we've really had our whole life. We've had one another. Pat and I never separated through our lifetime. Growing up, even though we're 10.5 months apart, we were always raised like twins. So, for me being the older brother, I was probably a little hard on him at times as we were growing up, and that's probably why he feels the way he does about me, and
made me a better person.
Yeah, but at the same time, we all have our role models. And to be honest with you, we had great coaches. We appreciate everything that they've ever done for us in our life. But I think what we can truly reflect on and look back that helped us is our family, our mom and our dad, and our sisters and our loved ones who were very close to us, teaching us, that anything is possible.
Yeah.
Right. And I think Pat could tell you too, that there was a point in our life where we could have went down a totally different path and not have any of this type of opportunity at a younger age. And without their guidance and keeping us in school and educated at our best, really opened up many doors for us to have this opportunity to be able to go to school, play football in college and in university there. And then having those doors open for us. But without those life lessons at a younger age, we probably wouldn't have any of this.
Well, that's because of that. It's who we are today.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, again, being so open and honest, sharing part of your lived experience. And it's interesting, as you were sharing, it sounds like your family, right, your immediate family gave you a model of this is what unconditional love looks like, right? It's a willingness to sacrifice for the well-being of others, right? To provide, some opportunities. So it sounds like those lessons were so deeply ingrained into your immediate family that you almost just got to see that on a daily basis. It just became part of who you are.
You got it.
Very true.
You hit the nail right on the head with that.
Yeah.
And that's what our childhood life was about. And then just, we've seen a lot of different families and growing up, and we always thought what we had was pretty natural, and that was what was out there. It's how every family was. And as you mature and you grow older and you really see, and your eyes see more, and you experience more things in life, you realize that we had something pretty special as an immediate family growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And how lucky we were as a family.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Lucky and blessed, that's for sure.
Yeah, very.
And it's interesting, right? Like how those lessons, how you turn that blessing, and now you're just blessing the next generation of strong and powerful leaders with those same life lessons, right? I'm curious on your perspective on this. Like the one thing, again, another thing I've really come to appreciate about both of you and watching how you operate, how you lead others, is this idea of, in sport, we're led to believe sometimes it's about tough love, where, knowing, getting to know both of you, there are high standards that you both set for yourselves and those around you. But one thing that's really evident is the love comes first, that you actually love people tough. So I'm curious, has that been something you've consciously doing, or was that just something that, just having, family that really loved you? And so I'm curious, this love tough approach.
Well, Mickey's probably more the tougher one than I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's definitely, I'm more of the,
Pat's always been that kid ever since we were younger to even now, who's all about hugging and showing his love to everyone, no matter who they are. And that's one thing that I can say that at a younger age I learned from him, because he's similar to my mother that way, is that you love and treat everyone with respect. Regardless. And that's something that Pat always did ever since we were even, as far back as I can remember, 7-8 years of age. We'd meet people for the first time, with our families and or our friends' parents or whatever, and we'd go to their house, and Pat would go in, give them a hug, give the moms a kiss on the cheek, and say, "Oh," and then at the end of the day, "Thank you, and I love you." And he always said that.
Always say, "I love you."
He always did, and that's something I'm always like, oh man, now at that young age, now I gotta have to
put him on the spot
too. Man, I gotta follow in his footsteps here.
Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, but he made me a better person that way, because I am a little more of a tougher type person. And I always was ever since we were younger, in the fact of, just not giving in or caving in or having or even having emotions at times. Where Pat, though, he truly cared about everybody. Everybody mattered to Pat, regardless who you were, what you did. And Pat's always been about, being fair to everyone and giving them the same opportunity in life. And whatever they make of that is on the individual. But he was all about that ever since at a younger age that I could recall. And that, the way he tells people I love you, like, we were doing that when we were playing, while we were coaching, when we were coaching together. And when I wasn't doing that all the time by myself, there were certain guys I would say, hey man, I love you, but Pat brings that out in everyone. And, it's something that is pretty special about him.
I do it just, I feel this world would be a much better place if we just loved one another. That's all.
And it's interesting as you share, because I just reflect on my own journey, and I sort of 2016 being a pivotal sort of moment for me and my personal growth as a man, as a husband, as a dad. And it's interesting, like Mickey, as you were sharing, I felt like that was kind of my tendency to be a little bit more tough. Like, this is the standard, pretty black and white in terms of going there. But as I've worked on myself, as I've learned to sort of develop and get a better understanding of who I am beyond a football coach, beyond an educator, I've learned to embrace sort of that side that Pat shares, right? This, that love of self, the love of others, telling people, hey, I appreciate you, I love you.
Yeah.
Like so it's interesting. So I can appreciate both. And I guess what I see is that's why you're such a strong and powerful team together, because you complement each other so well.
Exactly.
Okay.
He's a bad cop, I'm the good cop.
Yeah. No, but it even at this level of coaching, I can see when I talk to players and show my appreciation of them and what they're sacrificing each and every day, and what we all sacrifice each and every day, whether it may be not being with your families, they're living in another country, we're coming into work every day, them sacrificing their bodies on the line for us as coaches, so we're able to have this great sport being played. And then there's also so many other sides of just individuals, of what's going on in their life in that time, but them understanding and showing as a coach that you appreciate them, that you love them, that you know that this is this team works together, and us working together. I can see that they appreciate that almost more than anything else that goes on inside these walls here in the building.
I'm curious, both your thoughts on this. Is, a great coach and mentor help me understand, like, the greatest need of every human being is to feel seen, to feel heard, to feel appreciated. So again, through all of your experiences and leading, highly ambitious, highly driven, highly open-minded people, how important has that been? Like, have you noticed anything about when people feel seen, when they feel heard, when they feel appreciated, like you were saying, Coach Donovan, about that needs to happen before you can truly bring out the best, the greatness in others?
Yeah. I think it for some, they might have some walls put up depending on what they went through in life, and what type of coaches have treated them certain ways, or people in general that just have a bad experience, whatever it may be in life. And that's one thing I've definitely noticed in coaching at all levels is, the more that you feel or see in their eyes that they trust you.
Trust is the most,
When they trust you in what you are saying to them, knowing that you're not lying to them and you're telling them the truth, people appreciate that. If it's players or someone in the working world out there, sometimes truth hurts, and sometimes truth, can bring different mindsets of someone when you hear someone speak the truth about you, about the situation and what's occurring, you know, in that moment in time. But at the end of the day, I think we all can agree that no one wants to be lied to, and we just want the truth. And I find at every level, that's all the kids and players
Honesty.
want to hear.
Mm-hmm. So I'm curious, you know, you talked about this word of trust, right? And that's one thing I've come to appreciate is that people are at different stages of their trust journey. Some are just more open to trusting quicker. Some are a little bit slower, and that's part of that lived experience, right? What have their past interactions been? So I'm curious, Coach Pat, is there anything that you've noticed, like in terms of how to, you know, genuinely build trust with others? Because, you know, trust is kind of one of those valuable currencies that it takes time to build, but it can be gone.
You gotta be vulnerable.
And yeah, go ahead.
You gotta be vulnerable. You gotta let them in. It's not just you know them letting you in. You gotta let them in to you and show the true you. You know, for me, that's the biggest relationship builder is, you know, knowing your players, you know, understanding what they've been through. Obviously, I haven't lived the same life as them, but being open-minded and understanding and listening, giving them time. And that's so important. And again, obviously letting them know that I'm always there for them, no matter what. If a shoulder to cry on, person to talk to, that I love them. You know, that's again, it goes back to the love thing. That's, you know, really just showing them how much you appreciate them and how much you care for them.
I love that. And it's interesting, right? As you were sharing that idea of like the power of vulnerability.
Yep.
And it's interesting because we live in a world where I think at times you notice people overshare, right? Like they go through all the just I always come back to this question of is what I'm sharing helping elevate others, right? And I think there's an interesting one, but I think like this idea of like being able to tell another person, hey, I love you. It's that's I find is probably one of the most powerful ways to actually, you know, open yourself up to be truly vulnerable.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And the individuals knowing that you're not just saying it.
It's not just a word.
Yeah, that it's actually a meaning behind it. And there, you know, that and everything that we do say is true, that we do love you, you know, or that you do need to come in earlier in the mornings and work out, and it will help your, you know, your day, you know, as you grow, or whatever the case may be, that, you know, but when they start hearing if it's some tough love in there, but they also hear that you love them at the end of the day, and they hear it enough, they will believe it eventually, you know. And some, like you said, will believe it sooner, and some will, it takes a little longer, but when they know that you believe it, then they believe it too.
I'm curious, with both of you, you know, I think Coach Mickey, how we first got connected was I shared a clip from myself talking with Coach Cercelli in the huddle a couple of years ago, and I remember you just sharing, you know, hey, love, great friend, and you were singing his praises.
Phenomenal person.
I'm curious for both of you again, you know, obviously there's a deep connection with both of you and Coach Cercelli. How important has it been to surround yourself with other coaches, other leaders who embody and consistently demonstrate your values?
That's key for me, and I know for Mickey as well, is they definitely share him and his family share the same values as us, and they're good people. I tell you, JT, good people. Like Mickey will say it, good people.
Yeah, you don't find too many people like the Cercellis. So it's very rare that you meet people like this. And the way I met John Paul was when I first got my coaching gig with Greg Marshall at Western, and he asked us to help him coach out the Wentworth Panthers in the OVFL in the summer league, and I had no idea what that was. I just flew up into Canada, and I meet John Paul, and we're driving from Wentworth over to London every 3 to 4 nights a week, back and forth. And John Paul's driving me back and forth. I had no idea where I was going, what's going on, and be able to sit with that man in the car and spend the time that we spent together. I really truly got to know a brother, and his family, invited me with open arms and my wife at the time into their home during holidays. And I can't tell you how special that those moments were for me, learning that, there was someone else out there that had same values and beliefs and wants in life, and that was pretty special.
Mm. Coach Pat, I'm curious, what has your experience been as
working with me? I mean, I'm also fortunate enough to also work with the father as well.
Yeah.
And seeing their parents, both JP and Joe's mom and dad, and you see why they are who they are because of them. I mean, Coach Mike, so we just got a brand new locker room, and when I tell you, he did everything from A to Z, built every single locker, redesigned, renovated the whole locker room, and it's one of the top locker rooms now in Canada because of him. The amount of hours and money that he put in. And we had players helping out. Like, he did it because he wants to give the best experience for these student athletes.
Yeah.
Because he cares. He truly, honestly cares.
Mhm.
Incredible. This guy just had hip surgery. 2 weeks later, he's building lockers. Where do you see that?
No, it's, and again, to see Coach Mike Cercelli do what he's done in the past at CCH, win as many titles that he's won there. Pat didn't have the opportunity to be around Mike Cercelli's father, who you see where the work ethic really came from. When they migrated over here from Italy, and he, raised Mike and his brother Sal, starting out there in Windsor, and moving them to London, and just the guy never stopped working. When I knew him in his 80s, he was still working, doing the same job he was doing from day one, just never would stop. But so knowing that history there, and you see how unbelievable, Mike Cercelli is as a father, as a coach, as a human being who is all about making sure everyone around him is taken care of before he takes care of himself. It's pretty special.
It's interesting as you share that, and this word came up on my mind as you were both sharing these beautiful stories of the word care. And I know Coach Pat, I know that's one of the pillars at Windsor is this idea of care. And it's interesting. And I heard Coach Mickey go, it's easy to tell people you care, but are you actually showing people through your actions that you care? Whether it is inviting, another person into their home during the holidays, whether it's, building the most beautiful locker room in youth sports, right? And it's just like, it's easy to say. It's another thing to actually consistently show others that you truly care about their well-being.
Exactly. Yeah, that's Coach Mike. If you look at that definition in the vocabulary book, you'll see his face.
Yeah, his name for sure.
Yeah. I'm curious, one of the interesting parallels of both your journeys right now, and whether it's in the CFL, whether it's in the OUA youth sports, is since coming out of, we'll say, the interesting time after the pandemics, both of you have been part of programs that have truly just, taken things to the next level. So what has that process been like, seeing the culture shift and seeing the results translate on the field? I'm just curious, what has been maybe the most memorable experience since seeing this rise?
Yeah, well, really for me, being able to come and coach here in Toronto after being let go by the Alouettes and having an opportunity where, coming to a staff where I didn't know anyone. And in the coaching world, it's all about who you know, and having that opportunity. I did field a number of phone calls after and different opportunities of jobs, but this one I chose because Coach Dinwiddie was the first one to call. It was about 4 or 5 days after my release. And then also, I was very intrigued because I've always heard great things about Michael Pinball Clemens. And I've always felt the man, the stories I've heard about how much he really truly cares about people and how he really gives his time to everyone. Kind of put a lot of reminding, or showing me that, hey, there's someone there that's probably like my brother, and I've heard so many great things about this guy. I would love to be in the same room with a guy at least once. And being here and having that opportunity to actually see Coach Clemens in action is pretty special. And then seeing how people respond to him and the way he talks and motivates and shares stories as well is something that's at another level. And having the season that we had last year and having some adversity that we had to battle through the season, and no one quitting on each other, everyone just pulling together and working together. And Coach Dinwiddie had a great saying last year was, good was the enemy of great. And last year things were good. And the season before that, things were good, but they didn't get through the Eastern finals. So that saying of good was the enemy of great last year, the slogan was let's be better than what we were before. Obviously. So going through that, going to the Grey Cup and winning as the underdogs and having that opportunity to win, not just on the field, but in life, because of all the hard work that you put in, not just as an individual, but all the people that supported you through your lifetime to have that special moment. So, living that last year was pretty special. And I can't just put one finger on one moment at a time. It was a number of things that I was, felt very blessed that I was being able to be a part of it. Was just special alone.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like it's been the process has been beautiful.
It has. I feel very blessed and fortunate to be here working with the players, but also this organization is really truly top notch.
And just on a side note, Coach, I had the opportunity to be at the day in life of the Argos last week. So I was at Lamport on Wednesday, and I was watching you interact with some of the special teams players, so you could see kind of that joking side. So it was great. It was just a great energy, enthusiasm that I just watching you engage with the players.
Oh yeah, no, I wish I'd known you were there. It's I never really look around and see who's there and but please, if you ever do come by, let me know, because I even just to have 10 minutes to 5 minutes, whatever it may be, to share a conversation and feel your blessings, that would be great.
Absolutely, Coach. You'll be the first to know. Coach Pat, I'm curious, what has been again you.
So for me, actually when I came here, I actually got a call from my brother, and there's only two guys I would ever work for: my brother and John Paul. Okay. All right, and he needed help over here, and for me it was a no-brainer. Seeing the university, one, obviously knowing who I was going to be working with and for, just the amount of support that this university gives, not just its student athletes, but its students, and the experiences that these kids get here is phenomenal. So it was a no-brainer, and just seeing for what we have done from my first season to where we are now, and we're just going to get better. The kids are believing. Our last game, it was unfortunate, but we know the mistakes we made. We know that's not the team we are. And there's no doubt in my mind we're going to be a lot better in the playoffs. And yeah, it's been amazing. It's been phenomenal working with such amazing people, from Randy Beardy, like I said, the Cicellis. It's easy to come to work every day. And then with our dean, athletic director now, it's been phenomenal. They truly care about the sports here.
I love that you share that, and coach, it's been interesting to, sort of at a couple of times get a sort of peek behind the curtains and see what's been going on there. Cause I know sometimes in the world of sport, we get focused on, numbers on the scoreboard, wins and losses on a column, but it's been interesting. And remember people were asking, like, are you surprised about win? No, like and I remember I shared, some clips of things that Coach Cercelli had shared or things that you had shared. I'm like, great cultures are built on crystal clear values. And that's something that you and the other coaches have done an amazing job at.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. An interesting note, just on a funny story, you talk about this idea of always embodying and demonstrating things. I had a Football Ontario parent that reached out to me that was kind of looking at some different programs and came up on, hey, what do you think about Windsor? I said, as opposed to me telling, just listen to Coach Cercelli. And then it happened to be the same time where, oh my goodness, like this is, and then they had a meeting with you within the 48 hours and it was like done deal. Like this is, so it's just interesting how this idea of like leading by example, people will resonate with it.
And it's the truth. It's not just, words.
Yeah.
Like when JP says it, he really means it. Our philosophy.
Yeah.
That's one thing for sure, JT, that I think a lot of student athletes that are coming out of high school and they're being recruited, they're unsure of what's the truth and what's not the truth out there in this world that we want to make better and want to have better people out there and share our love with everyone. But some people, student athletes, might feel like, well, no, they can't be that way. It's too good to be true, right? But that's how it is. And I think when student athletes realize if that's something that they want in life, and it's same with the people I work here with or people I meet in the Toronto community at times. If they ever start mentioning about, I have a son who's playing, I said, well, when it's that time, I tell you, if you want, for my son, when he grows up, and if I want him to be around great people, great mentors, and if the Cicellis are still coaching with my brother in Windsor, I'll tell you right now, I know I can put my head down at night knowing that my son is going to be cared for. He's going to be coached. He's going to be mentored. He's going to be pushed to be better and great each and every day, but he's going to know how to respect everyone around him. And at the end of the day, that's what we all want for our kids, right? And when they're a student there, it's another top priority. It's not just about the sport. Their academics is a top-notch thing that I know John Paul, Pat, Joe, they all take a lot of pride in, having that all academic Canadian.
We had 73 academic all Canadians in 3 years. 73. Yeah. When JP first came in, that the previous year they had 6. So it just tells you like the importance and coming from me, like trust me, I would love to go back and get a business degree. I didn't. I have a leisure science. I'm proud of it. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But I didn't have the mentors, the guidance that we have here, and showing the importance. It's special. It is special.
It is. And so I say the same thing like you, JT, is the one thing is I talk about it and I tell people, hey, watch out for Windsor. I'm telling you right now, watch out for Windsor. And I was saying it last year, and then this year when they went on their 4-0, 5-0 win streak, and people are like, oh my God, Windsor, Mickey. I'm like, hey, I tried telling you guys, I said, these guys truly will keep working and they're going to, keep coaching the student athletes there. And again, it goes back to who would you want your son daughter to be around, what type of people, what type of, environment besides sports. If you take sports out of the equation, who are they going to be around still? Would they still be able to come by and say hi and talk to you? Yeah. If a student athlete comes into Windsor and decides, it's just too hard, but I'm going to still, keep working on my academics, you can still pop your head in, and Coach Pat will still show you the same love as Coach Aselli would, on those days when you were a player there.
I love that. And why I love that is, it's interesting, just the question, right? Is this the type of person I would want? It's similar to a question I would ask is this the type of person I would want coaching my son, mentoring my son? Is this someone I would want marrying my daughter? So it's interesting how those questions, if you can answer yes to both, that's a good fit.
A good place.
Yeah. Okay. I want to be respectful of your time and energy, both. Again, I know it's an in-demand time of the season. One of the interesting things that people often ask about this idea of like leadership and what it truly means to help and serve the hearts of others. I find we have a lot of coaches that are 20 years in that are closer to the end, but then I also feel we have a wealth of coaches that are 10 and less in. They're really looking for guidance. Like, this is how you go about business. This is how you do things in a certain way. If a young coach, young leader came up to you and just wanted to pick your brain and said, could you share with me one piece of advice that would help me at this stage of my journey? What piece of advice would you give this young leader, this young coach, in terms of how to truly help and serve the hearts of others? Coach Pat?
Well, first, there's as a young coach, you're going to learn a lot of things, what to do and what not to do. So always look at the pros and cons, but for me, it's always giving others time. It's giving others time, giving them your time. That just shows them how much, what they mean to you. It's a value. I think giving the time is one of the most important things.
Yeah, time, I think anyone could say is, we never have enough time in the day, right? And as coaches, and for anyone out there that they have a lot going on through their day, and they have deadlines as well because of it. If it's writing reports up, to be able to present to your players, student athletes, time is on the essence. So when someone does give you your time, you always make sure you respect it, appreciate it. And for a young coach, it's one thing. Don't try to do too much to water yourself thin and not being able to give everyone what they really need. Others might need a little more than some, but at the end of the day, I do think it's truly about, one, being honest, being truthful, even though sometimes you might think it's going to hurt their feelings or not be good for them to hear. It's always going to be good for them to hear, because, it's going to make them a stronger and better person in life.
100%.
And when they realize that's there, then you're on the right path.
I love that. And I again appreciate, both of you sharing, again, so honest, so open, transparent with sharing and what's got you here. I'm curious if anyone wants to support, the Argo family as they, go for back-to-back Grey Cups, or if anyone wants to, support the Lancer family as they go towards a Yates Cup and a Vanier Cup. Is there any way that people can help and support what you're both helping to grow?
Well, talk about support. We actually, when JP came here, he started a parent group. So all of our players' parents, a lot of them, we have a brunch after every game, and talk about special, because for me it's very special because I'm away from my family. So my family lives in Montreal. It's tough. I have a little girl, and it's I remember when I was a kid, I know Vicky's gonna laugh, but I remember telling my mom one time that I was telling her I could never love you more than anyone else. And she told me, no, Pat, I'm telling you right now, once you have a kid, you're going to love your kid more than me. And I would bawl my eyes out. How could you say that? Oh, yeah, and I know, JT, there's no words to explain the amount of love. So being away from my little baby girl and my wife and my family, and having that support from the parent group and showing how much they care and what that means is unbelievable. So those that for the parents that are part of the team that have not been around and don't know about that this is something very special. For the players who are not from here, from the coaches who live somewhere else, it definitely means a lot.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. No, it's same with the Argos here. My family lives in New Hampshire, so I'm up here 7 months by myself, and it's not easy, but you make these sacrifices in life to what you think is what is right for you and your family. And we all have our different thoughts and beliefs and ideas behind that. With great support back home, it definitely makes my job a lot easier here. But to have the fans and the people who come by every day, seeing familiar faces here at the stadium on game days, building those connections with others that are from the Ontario area, or from the Toronto area, it's pretty special for me. And it's something that I always try to keep in the back of my head, is that, some people say like, oh, you only have one family in life, but there's more than that in life. We have more than one family, and my family back home in New Hampshire is part of my family up here in Toronto and Canada. And every time we have Canadian Thanksgiving, I celebrate it. My daughter was born in Canada, so we always celebrate it as a family. And I just love the opportunities that I've been able to be a part of being here, and again, being welcomed into others' homes, and the support that they have shown me as a coach to make me feel special, but also wanting to be great for them and their family because of the opportunities I have.
It's interesting as both of you share, again, it's very evident you've come from your immediate family being, again, the importance of unconditional love, doing whatever's necessary to elevate others or help them get to where they want to go. But for both of you, it sounds what really has touched your heart is being away from immediate family, having an extended family around you that shows you that unconditional love, that they truly care about you. And again, it's so special, and it's so cool that both of you have that.
Yeah, no, it is. Thank you.
Special thanks. Yeah.
Absolutely. So Mickey and Pat, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge both of you. I want to take a moment to acknowledge you for the great men you are, the great husbands you are, dads, teacher, coach, mentors, but more importantly, the amazing human beings you are. The one thing that I've truly come to appreciate about both of you is just how much you love on others, right? Like how much you just truly want to see and help people reach their full potential, whether it's on the football field in the game of life, and it's truly special. It inspires me. It reminds me about why we do this. So I just want to thank you again for being the amazing human beings you are.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well,
Appreciate you, JT.
Yeah. Thank you for having us on the huddle today.
Really appreciate
it.
JT, sorry, Mickey. I just want to, I will
ahead.
make sure I share that video of my brother when he was the Hulkamania. All right. He's a Hulkster. It's pretty wild. It's nice.
Absolutely.
I'll share it with you. I'll have to get it up.
Okay.
Well, again, JT, it's something that it's important that we enjoy and have fun with the people that are surrounding us in life. It's hard for some people to have fun and enjoy themselves each and every day. So if you're able to bring a little excitement and fun to your day and to others' days, it makes you feel better as well as a person, as you know, and the work that you have done and that you have shown. And I follow you on LinkedIn, and I see the videos you post, and it's such a blessing to see what the work that you have done as well. So we appreciate you.
We appreciate you.
We thank you again for having us on. And anytime we're able to help you and anyone else out, we're always available. That's for sure.
Thank
Exactly.
you, brothers. I received that. I'll take a moment. So folks, Coach Mickey, Coach Pat dropped so many valuable nuggets of wisdom that will not only help you succeed in sport, but more importantly, in the game of life. But as I like to remind you every week in the huddle, knowledge is potential power. It's a consistent and focused application of great knowledge that actually creates greater results. So my challenge to you is to take one of these valuable nuggets of wisdom and go apply it to your life today. And as I remind you every week in the huddle, you are deserving of greatness. You are worthy of greatness. You are greatness. And my only ask from these conversations, if it resonated with you, if it touched your heart, then please share it with a friend, a loved one, a teammate, just someone you feel that would benefit from listening to these positive, inspiring, empowering ideas. The more people we have listening, understanding, and applying these simple principles to life, the more blessed this world will be. As always, love having these conversations with you in the huddle. Have a blessed rest of your day.